You know, there's something most women won't ever say out loud. Not to their friends, not to the man they're dating, not even to themselves sometimes, but deep down, every woman wants it. It's not money, not luxury, not a man who looks perfect or has status. It's something far deeper, something emotional, something that makes her feel seen, valued and safe, because you give her everything she asks for, but because your presence feels different. See, every woman craves emotional security. Not the kind that comes from constant attention or validation, but the kind that comes from a man who knows himself so well that she can finally relax around him. She may never say, "I want a man who gives me peace." But when she meets one, her whole energy changes. She stops overthinking, she stops testing, she stops competing, because women naturally want to surrender to a man's calmness when they sense he's grounded and emotionally stable. It's the quiet power of certainty, the type that makes her feel like no matter what chaos is happening in her world, this man will not lose his balance. When a woman says, "I just want a nice guy," she doesn't mean someone who obeys everything she says or texts her every hour. What she's truly saying is, "I want to feel safe enough to be soft." And here's the irony. She won't admit that openly, because vulnerability is terrifying. Most women have been hurt or disappointed before. They've opened their hearts to men who made promises and vanished. They've been told they're too much or too emotional. So instead of asking for peace, they test to see if you are peace. They push buttons to see if you'll lose control, if you'll get reactive, if you'll fall apart. Because if you do, she subconsciously learns that she can't trust your strength. But when you stay calm, when you don't take her emotional storms personally, that's when she feels it, that deep, unspoken desire being fulfilled, the desire to be in the presence of someone unshakable. Every woman secretly wants a man who can lead with presence, not with pressure. A man who listens, not just to respond, but to truly understand. The one who doesn't need to prove his worth because his silence already speaks for him. Women are highly intuitive. They can sense when a man is insecure, even if he hides it behind confidence. But they can also sense when a man's peace is real, when he's not trying to win her over, but simply being himself. That authenticity draws her in deeper than any game or line ever could. Think about it. The men women obsess over, the ones they can't forget even after years, are not necessarily the richest or the most handsome. They're the ones who made her feel something rare. Maybe it was comfort in chaos. Maybe it was the feeling that she didn't have to perform or pretend. Maybe it was that for once she could be seen without judgment. She'll never admit it openly, but every woman wants a man who makes her feel emotionally safe, enough to be feminine again. Not the kind of feminine defined by appearance, but the natural softness that comes when she no longer has to guard her heart. A woman's heart is like a fortress built from years of disappointment. But when she meets a man who moves with quiet strength, who doesn't demand her trust, but earns it slowly through consistency, that fortress begins to open. Not because he forced it, but because she felt it. She felt that his energy was different, patient, grounded, self-assured. And when she feels that, she naturally becomes more open, more affectionate, more connected. She can finally exhale. That's the thing she'll never admit, but always crave. The freedom to be soft without fear of being broken. But most men get it wrong. They think giving her attention non-stop or agreeing with everything she says will make her feel safe. It doesn't. It actually does the opposite. A woman doesn't want a man who loses himself trying to please her. She wants a man who stands firm in who he is, and yet still chooses to understand her. A man who has boundaries, not walls. She doesn't want control. She wants clarity, and she doesn't want perfection. She wants presence. When you become that kind of man, calm, composed, emotionally intelligent, everything changes. You stop chasing validation, and she starts giving it naturally. You stop trying to impress her, and she becomes impressed by your peace. You stop reacting to her moods, and suddenly she begins to trust yours. That's the dynamic that creates deep attraction, not superficial, but soul deep. And the truth is, women may never come out and say, "I want a man who gives me peace," because it sounds too vulnerable, too revealing. But watch how they act around such a man. Their tone softens, their eyes stay longer, their guard drops without them even realizing it. What women want but never say is emotional leadership. The kind that isn't about telling her what to do, but guiding the emotional tone of the relationship. When she's anxious, you stay calm. When she's distant, you stay patient. When she's upset, you don't try to fix everything. You just listen. It makes her feel like she's with someone rare, someone who doesn't just hear her words, but feels her energy. And that's something every woman deeply desires but struggles to admit. Because admitting it means accepting that she wants a man who's stronger emotionally than she is. She wants to feel safe to fall, safe to let go of control, safe to be vulnerable. But vulnerability feels like danger to a woman who's been let down before. So instead, she hides it behind independence, attitude, or emotional distance. She'll say, "I don't need anyone." But if you pay attention, her eyes say otherwise. Because deep down, she doesn't want to need someone. She wants to trust someone. She wants to feel that no matter what happens, the man beside her won't break under pressure. The strongest thing you can ever give a woman is not your money, not your body, not even your love. It's your emotional consistency, the peace that comes from knowing that you won't disappear when things get messy, that you can hold space for her emotions without getting lost in them, that you can still smile, still lead, still be yourself, even when she tests your patience. That's what melts a woman's heart in silence. That's what builds devotion. So if you want to be unforgettable, not just for a moment, but for a lifetime, master your presence. Don't just speak words. Let your energy communicate your confidence. Don't just chase love. Become the kind of man love naturally chases. When you do that, women will sense it instantly. They'll feel something in your presence that words can't describe. A quiet power, a rare calmness, a masculine steadiness that makes them feel safe to open up. And even if they never admit it, that's what every woman truly wants. So let me ask you, have you ever noticed how differently a woman treats you when she feels safe with you? Have you ever experienced that moment when her guard drops and you see her real self for the first time? Share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts, because understanding this one truth changes everything. Not just how women see you, but how you see yourself. And if you found this video valuable, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell, because here we talk about real human behavior. what people feel but never say, and how you can grow stronger, wiser, and more grounded through it all. Until next time, stay calm, stay powerful, and remember, peace is what truly attracts